The Warka Vase is one of the oldest examples of a narrative relief sculpture, and it dates from 3200 to 3000 BC. It has many similarities to the Narmar palette of Egypt, even though it's almost 3,000 years older. The vase was discovered in fragments in 1933, and it's named after the ancient city of Uruk, which is currently known as Warka. The vase is approximately 3 feet tall and 600 pounds heavy while intact. It's composed of alabaster, which is kind of a white, semi-precious stone which is soft and easy to carve. This famous work of art was originally on display in the Baghdad Museum until the museum was looted during the toppling of Saddam Hussein's regime in 2003. The vase was snapped off its stand, leaving the base of the vase behind. The vase was thought to have been lost during the looting, but interestingly enough, it was randomly returned by two men in a red Toyota, but was broken in about 20 pieces. The vase was eventually restored and is now on display in the Iraqi Museum. The Warka vase depicts a festival in honor of Inanna, also known as Ishtar, who is the premier female deity of ancient Mesopotamia. The Warka mask is also thought to have been a representation of the face of Inanna. This particular piece of art is classified as a low-relief sculpture, meaning that the carvings aren't that deep and aren't projected out very far. The animals are shown in profile, as they have been for thousands of years, and the people are shown from a frontal view with their legs and heads in profile. There is a definitive ground line on which the figures stand instead of floating in space, which was a new innovation of its time. We can see hierarchy of scale used in art for the first time on this vase. There are 4 distinct registers, or strips, of carvings, much like comic book strips. Plants fill the bottom register, animals are in a procession on the second register, and people carrying baskets of offering are on the middle register. The repetition of figures on the vase can be thought of as a reference to reproduction and multiplying as a function of fertility. Some scholars even go so far as to suggest that this theme of repetition means that the vase is one of a pair. So if we look closely at the top register, we see that it's not a scene of repetitive figures like the other registers. In it, a procession of nude figures are depicted delivering the baskets of gifts to the Lady of Heaven, or Inanna. Unlike in Greek culture of later times, nudity was a representation of weakness and those of low status, such as defeated enemies or slaves. What's interesting is that the vase depicts a ritual in which the vase itself is actually present in the artwork, as seen here with the red arrow. The story depicted in the registers, ultimately culminating in the gift-giving ritual to the deity Inanna, can be thought of as a gesture of gratitude for the fulfillment of a vow. Some scholars even say that the ceremony can be thought of as symbolic of the union of mortal man and a deity in some form of sacred marriage. Historically, the vase was also the first to have religious aspects depicted in its ceremonies. When reading the registers from bottom to top, we can see a hierarchy in the natural progression of abundance from the plants to the animals to the people to the gods, who are ultimately paid tribute for the great fertility afforded by the Mesopotamian region. This fertility helped facilitate many technological discoveries which gave rise to advanced civilizations.